Hey, how's it going, everybody? Welcome to Updated Ark Basics, a show where we break down the ins and outs, the ups and downs, the all-arounds of Ark. That's right, we're talking about the ABCs. The A, it stands for Ark, the B for Basics, the C, whatever you want it to be. If you're interested in seeing the original one, the link is up here. Welcome back to Ark Basics. I'm Phlinger Phoo, and today we're going to be discussing the Pteranodon, which is usually going to be everybody's first flyer that they get on Ark. Sometimes your situation may change. You may go with like a Pelagornis or something of the sort, but usually Pteranodon is generally your first flyer. Now, let me tell you that these guys right here, even though they may be your first flyer, they do have a lot of different uses other than just, hey, let's get airborne. These guys are fast. They're actually one of the fastest flying dudes that are just, wing propelled kind of flyers in Ark. You can get ones that glide, that go faster. You can get ones that carry a lot more weight than them. But generally, these guys do have a lot of really good uses, especially if you're just out exploring, doing stuff like that. But yeah, speaking of their weight, I ended up, this guy can't really carry me. He's too low level, and he was just being used for the opening scene. He's the guy I tamed previously. All right, so when you're taming these guys, there's a few things you need to know. A few things on your shopping list per se. All right, now, since you get them very early on, it's kind of expected that, here, let me show you. Their saddle is level 38, so that's actually really, really low level. Now, their saddle actually takes 75 keratin or chitin, whichever one you prefer, 125 fiber, and 230 hide. So other than the chitin and keratin, at level 38, you should pretty much have that. If you haven't been focusing on gathering up all your chitin and keratin before then, or you're using it for other things, you're going to have to probably go beat up some turtles, and we'll discuss that a little bit here pretty soon. For the most part, it's really easy to get all that stuff. It just takes a little bit of grinding, especially early game. Now, when you're taming these guys, like I said, it's level 38, so you're kind of expected to have crossbows, and crossbows are generally the preferred method of taming them. You can use bows. Bows do a little bit more damage than you really want and a little less torpor per trank arrow, but you can totally use it. But just know that Pteranodons generally tend to be on the lower health side of the spectrum, so you can kill it while you're trying to knock it out if you use a bow and you kind of hit it a little bit too heavy in the headshot region. So yeah, just be aware of that. Generally, if you have a crossbow, use that. If not, have a bow, but know that you may end up killing it. All right, so for the shopping list, really all you need is you can use Bola if you're going to go for a higher level one. If you're going to go for a lower level one, you really don't even need this. You can one-shot knock them out when they just come down to land. If you're going to go for a higher level one, you're definitely going to need a Bola because it's probably going to take more than one hit. But you'll notice that in the earlier game, Pteranodons... Oh, here, I'm trying to say this. Pteranodons, they're everywhere! And I have got none of them in my area. So, yeah, Pteranodons are everywhere. Let's go find a Pteranodon. There's one way over there. Alright, so here we are. Here's a Pteranodon, and... Oh, hey, this one is a 140. This is a good one. Alright, so what you're going to want to do while they're landed on the ground, and they always will come down to land, just bullet. Alright, and then once you have it bulleted, you come up behind it, and you aim for right here on the back of the scruff of its head. And that'll generally be the headshot region. And then you can just quickly knock it out. You can use regular primitive stuff if you want to. It'll take you a couple extra shots. I ended up having, decent one that I've looted out of a loot container. So that's the one I'm using. All right, now what you want to use for these guys, you can use kibble. If you go for kibble, it's regular kibble. Now, the regular kibble that you get... that you use for these guys is also the same kibble that from the eggs that they drop. So if you want to get lower level Pteranodons and then use them to level up, or use them to get a whole bunch more eggs so you can actually get higher level Pteranodons with the kibble later on, you can totally do that. It is really, really cool how, how the kibble system works on these guys. So, yeah, if you want a higher level one and you want to use kibble for it, just tame some lower level ones, get the eggs for it, plant your crops, use that to make up the kibble, go out and get a really nice high level one. Yeah. All right. So now what we're gonna do? We're gonna get some. We're gonna go get some prime meat. Now, prime meat is generally the preferred way that I like to tame these guys. If you tame higher level ones, you'll notice that you may need a little bit of narco berries or narcotics on these guys, especially at the default taming settings for public servers. You may need a little bit. For the most part, you probably, yeah, it's about hit or miss. All just depends. All right, but if you're on any kind of boosted server or anything like that, you just will not need any. Alright, so let's go grab some prime meat, come back here, tame this sucker up. I've got my saber tooth over here that is really good at getting prime meat. I'll be right back. Alright, now while you're out here grabbing your prime meat, you can generally keep your eye out for turtles, stuff like that. Turtles and everything, they will give you a ton of prime meat, or you can just get a bunch of these little bugs. Little bugs will give you all the chitin and keratin that you need. If you're close to the swamp, just kill something, let a bunch of these Meganura aggro on it. And then you gank them. Harvesting them, getting more than enough chitin and keratin for your saddle building needs. And then, of course, you got one that just will not die. Never fails whenever I do a Pteranodon Basics, something comes out. I'm trying really hard to avoid raptors as to what harassed me in the first one that I did. Alright, so we've got plenty of prime meat. This is going to be more than enough. But also, see, just by harvesting a few bugs, we've got plenty of chitin, we've got a little bit of keratin, we've got more than enough. But if you're having a hard time gathering a whole bunch of it, I would say... Really, compies? I would say that just go spear some turtles in the face, and then harvest them up that way. If you're using stone tools, you can even get it that way. If you're using some metal tools by that time, you can get it that way, and it'll be a little bit easier for you. Alright, so now that this guy's been unconscious for a little bit, let's grab some prime meat. A little bit of regular meat, because I always like to throw a little bit of regular meat on there just in case if it ends up running out of the prime meat that I throw on there, so it actually has something to eat. Because if it doesn't have anything on there, once you add a little bit of something that'll give it some taming percentage, if it runs out of food, its taming will just tank. And you don't want that, so I always just throw one little bit on there. You don't have to, I just do it because, yeah, I've been playing this game for a long time. So, yeah, now he's going to be taming up. Once he's tamed up, I'll bring you back, and then we'll take him out for a little spin to show you what this guy does. And once you know it, just when he gets up, it starts raining. You know what? I'm doing the scene anyway, so, alright, let's do it. Okay, so now that he's up, you're going to notice that he has, he has got a little bit of health. It's a decent amount. It's enough to actually take a hit or two. Sometimes 3. All depends on what you're going up against. He's going to have next to no stamina. That's just kind of typical for just about every Pteranodon you ever get. His weight is going to be absolutely atrocious. Melee damage, generally, this guy has lower than average melee damage for being a 140 pre-tame. So, yeah, melee damage on Pteranodons is generally pretty high. So, that is actually a pretty big plus. Okay, so when you're leveling these guys up, if you're in a, if you want to use them as explorers or like your first flyer, I would recommend getting your stamina up to a little bit, kind of around 600-700-ish, maybe 800-ish. It'll take you a while. They don't get many, they don't get much stamina per pump that you put it in that, and that is by design. So, yeah, just get it up to a spot where you feel comfortable with them being able to hold you for a little bit, and then just go with that. And then after that, give them a little bit of weights, maybe a little bit of melee damage if you want, and a little bit of health if you find yourself needing it. Generally, this guy right here, 1474 health, that's a pretty good health stat. So I would probably keep it there. With leveling him up, I would definitely get this guy's stamina up to about 700, maybe 750, and then I'd get his weight up to about probably 275, maybe 300s, where I could carry a little bit of stuff, and then after that I'd worry about melee damage. That way there, this guy, he would be a really good explorer, and you'd be able to go out and you'd be able to explore the map on your first flyer. Now, if I was going to be using this guy in more of a PvP type environment, I would definitely go a little bit more health. His stamina, I would probably get up to about 500 because you would just want it for short bursts. And then I would definitely get his weight up because if you're going to use him in a PvP environment, having the option to be able to pick up some random dude on the ground and then fly him up in the air and then drop them, that's important. So, yeah, you definitely want to get the weight and the melee stat up kind of high, so where they could dish out some damage, and then also if you pick somebody up, they're carrying a lot of gear, you can take them up, and then you can drop them and do a ton of damage to them just by fall damage. So that's the way I'd level him up for that. Alright, so now that we've got that, let's take him back, let's get a saddle on him, and let's discuss his abilities. Alright, in the saddle, it's just crafted right in your inventory. So you just put stuff in your inventory, craft it up just like every other saddle. It says it's not in a smithy. Alright, so now that we've got that, let's throw that over here, wait for our saddle to craft up. Go stick it on this dude, throw our Phoo over there, because the Phoo's actually giving us a lot of stuff, because I carry my extra armor in him. And so let's go like this, pop you up here, and then we can actually get on him. Notice that even with just our basic items and cloth armor, this guy we've already pretty much maxed out his weight. But I'm going to deal with it. I'm just not going to carry any extra stuff. Matter of fact, if I go out for a exploration a little bit, I'm probably going to throw most of this away because, throw all this in the smithy because I don't want to carry all that extra stuff. Right, you notice this guy only got 19 points of stamina for that one pump. So it's going to take a while to get him up to a respectable stamina stat. But it still is worth it if you're going out. Alright, so now his regular attacks, his left click, it's just a bite. But the bite is rather, it will do quite a considerable amount of damage considering this is going to be your first flyer. Alright, the right click attack actually is a grab. Yeah, that's right, you can actually pick up things, and you can pick up smaller things with this guy. You're not going to be able to pick up a trike with a Pteranodon or anything of the sort. You can pick up dillos, oviraptors, dodos, compies, smaller things. People, yeah, stuff like that. I'm not even sure we can pick up a Moschops. Nope, cannot pick up a Moschops. Moschops is too big. Alright, so now, these guys, they do have a really cool special attack, and that is their spin, which does that right there. Alright, let's regain back our stamina here really quick because these guys fly through stamina. Alright, and I'm gonna go show you the difference between a regular attack on these guys and their spin attack. And their spin attack, actually, one of the benefits for their spin attack is it has the increased multiplier for gathering. Alright, so, let's show you. Alright, this guy right here, 52 points of damage. Now, let's do our spin. 146. So yeah, it does a lot more damage, but it also uses up a ton of stamina. Alright, but if you're going to, say, let's take out this poor Parasaur that's just had the unfortunate thing for walking by us for the demonstration parts of this video. Alright, now we could just sit there and we could left click to harvest them, or we could spin through them and get extra. It's pretty cool. The multiplier is active on that spin attack, which makes them really good for gathering up some things. Usually I use these guys for taming Argents, and then using their circle attack to gather prime meat from whatever I'm killing in order to get prime meat for the Argent taming. Alright, so that's gonna do it. That's pretty much covers just about everything you need to know about Pteranodons. I hope the video helped you out. If you did, make sure you click that like button. I really appreciate it. If you're new around here, subscribe. And until next time, this is Phlinger Phoo, and take it easy, everybody.